Imagine waking up, no phone, no internet, no books, no music, no television, no friends to text, not even a clock to tell you what time it is. Now imagine living like that every single day for your entire life. Sounds unbearably boring, doesn't it? But here's the strange part. Our prehistoric ancestors weren't bored nearly as often as we are today. In fact, scientists believe they may have understood something about the human mind that modern people have forgotten. So, what did a caveman actually do when there was absolutely nothing to do? The answer is far more fascinating than you might think. When people imagine cavemen, they picture someone constantly hunting mammoths, fighting wild beasts, or running for their life. Movies make prehistoric life look like one endless action scene. But reality was very different. Most days, nothing dramatic happened. No giant battles, no dinosaurs. Because despite what Hollywood often shows, dinosaurs had already been extinct for about 65 million years before the first humans ever appeared. Instead, life was slow. Very slow. Sometimes entire days passed without anything exciting happening. So what did they actually do? Did they simply stare at the fire, waiting for tomorrow? Or did boredom shape humanity in ways we never imagined? Believe it or not, boredom itself may be a surprisingly modern problem. Today, our brains are constantly flooded with stimulation, videos, games, notifications, infinite scrolling. But for over 99% of human history, none of that existed. Our ancestors lived in environments where every sound mattered. A bird suddenly going silent, leaves moving in the distance, a strange footprint in the dirt. These tiny details could mean the difference between eating or being eaten. Their brains were always paying attention, not because life was exciting, but because survival demanded it. Ironically, modern scientists think our brains evolved to seek challenges, not endless entertainment. And that's exactly why many people today feel bored, despite having unlimited entertainment in their pockets. As the sun disappeared below the horizon, something magical happened. The tribe gathered around the fire, not just for warmth, but for something far more important: stories. Long before writing, long before books, stories were humanity's first library. An elder might tell the tale of a dangerous hunt. Another would describe strange stars in the sky. Children learned which plants were poisonous, where the rivers flooded, and why certain animals should never be approached. Every story carried knowledge. Every laugh strengthened the tribe. Every myth preserved history. Scientists believe storytelling became one of humanity's greatest survival tools. In a way, those glowing flames became the world's very first movie screen. Instead of watching videos, they watched imagination. Ending teaser. But storytelling was only one way cavemen escaped boredom. Some of the things they did next eventually changed human history forever. And one simple activity may have accidentally led to the birth of art itself. Imagine sitting inside a cave. The fire crackles softly outside, and the wind howls through the darkness. There is no hunt today, no danger, nothing urgent to do, so someone picks up a piece of burnt wood. Another crushes red ochre into powder. Someone else mixes it with animal fat. Then they begin drawing. Not because they had to survive, but because they wanted to create. Thousands of years later, archaeologists would discover these drawings deep inside caves across Europe, Africa, and Asia. Some are over 40,000 years old: bison, horses, handprints, mysterious symbols. No one knows exactly why they made them. Some scientists believe they were teaching tools. Others think they were spiritual rituals. And some believe something much simpler. People simply enjoyed making art. The very first painters may have been ordinary people, filling a quiet afternoon. Now imagine the fire burns lower. The cave becomes silent. Then, a soft whistle echoes through the darkness, not from a bird, but from a tiny flute, carved from the bone of a vulture. Yes, humans were making musical instruments over 35,000 years ago. Some ancient flutes have even been found almost perfectly preserved. Think about that. People who had never seen cities, never read books, never invented the wheel, still found time to make music. Music wasn't just entertainment. It helped groups stay together. It calmed children. It celebrated successful hunts. It comforted people after loss. Long before playlists, there were campfires, voices, rhythm, and the beating of human hands. Here's something surprising. A prehistoric child wasn't very different from a child today. They laughed, they explored, they copied adults, and most importantly, they played. Archaeologists have found miniature stone tools, too small to be useful. Why? Because they were probably made for children. Practice tools, toys, learning through play, even tens of thousands of years ago. Children learned by pretending, playing hunter, playing gatherer, playing adult. Without realizing it, they were preparing themselves for survival. But perhaps the greatest gift boredom ever gave humanity was curiosity. Imagine sitting beside a river. You pick up two stones, you hit them together again, eventually. A sharper edge appears. Not because anyone ordered you to do it, not because there was a deadline, simply because you wondered what would happen. Many archaeologists believe countless inventions may have started exactly like this: experimenting, testing, failing, trying again. The spear, the needle, the fishing hook, the bow. Every invention began with someone asking, what if? In other words, boredom didn't slow human progress. It may have started it. But there is one final mystery. If cavemen had no internet, no technology, and spent much of their lives outdoors, why do modern humans, surrounded by endless entertainment, feel more bored than ever before? The answer might reveal something uncomfortable about the human brain. It sounds impossible. How could a caveman with nothing feel less bored than us? When today we have everything: endless videos, games, social media, movies, music instantly available at any moment. And yet, people today report feeling bored more often than ever before in history. Why? The answer may lie deep inside the human brain. Our minds were never designed for infinite entertainment. They were designed for survival, for movement, for problem solving, for real-world challenges. When everything becomes instant, the brain loses its sense of effort, and without effort, even pleasure starts to feel empty. This is why scrolling for hours can feel strangely unsatisfying, even though nothing is missing. Your brain is still the same brain that existed tens of thousands of years ago. It still reacts to danger, it still seeks novelty, it still rewards discovery. But instead of tracking animals or solving survival problems, it now tries to find meaning in endless digital noise. And when everything is available all the time, nothing feels special anymore. But cavemen lived in a world where novelty was rare. A new sound, a new path, a new animal track. Even a small discovery had real meaning, because it could mean survival. So what did cavemen do when they were bored? They didn't fight boredom. They used it, they observed, they experimented, they created stories, tools, music, and art. Not because they had time to waste, but because their minds refused to stay idle. And maybe, and just maybe, boredom was never the enemy. It was the beginning of everything human. So the next time you feel bored, maybe it's not a problem to fix. Maybe it's a signal that your mind is ready to create something new, just like it always has, since the beginning of humanity. If you enjoyed this journey into the prehistoric mind, there are many more stories waiting to be told. Don't forget to subscribe for more.